Welcome to 5 Sports. We are reacting to Game 5 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and Columbus Blue Jackets. And Evan, your thoughts on Toronto's loss of Game 5?
I have no thoughts. I really don't. Just sad. Sad because I think this is worse than previous years. I think this was our worst playoff series. And maybe you could chalk it down to COVID and the break and it's being such an unorthodox time. Maybe. But I'm not gonna do that because I've been suffering as a fan of this team for too long. And frankly, the series or the game yesterday was, the how do I explain this? The game yesterday was very similar to the rest of the games of the series. They put a bunch of shots on net, but they weren't, high quality chances. I thought both Korpisalo and Merzlikins, when he was playing, very comfortable. I didn't think they were, too worried in that. I think outside of Matthews and Tavares, no one really created chances. You can argue Marner, but I thought Marner did a lot of, wrong. It's a tough pill to swallow because there's a lot to digest. There's a lot to kind of break down. And the one thing that's been made quite clear throughout the whole series that there have to be wholesale changes to the defense. That's been clear for quite a few years now, and we've been trying to fix it, but they haven't been doing a very good job. And this is gonna be the make or break summer because there's a lot on the line. And yeah, I'm really at a loss for words to explain how bad we were yesterday because I didn't think we were good. Yes, we put shots on net. Korpisalo made some good saves, but it wasn't good enough, and we shut out in the game 5. So anticipation was just building from the fact that we had that incredible miracle comeback in game 4, and just even I was on here Saturday telling you it's the Leafs. I mean, just if any team's going to give up the momentum, it's the Leafs. They found a way just to screw it up once again. And maybe it's a good thing we would have got killed by Tampa Bay anyways. I think Tampa Bay would have murdered us in maybe 5 or 6 games, probably 5. But yeah, I'm not surprised sitting here after another elimination game loss.
Yeah, and Sheldon Keefe came out after last night saying how the team just got unlucky last game. And honestly, to that, I'd say,
No.
yeah, you guys, there were unlucky moments, but, you guys did not
Sheldon
play
Keefe can
well.
talk about luck all he wants. I think he's lucky still being a job today. I don't know. Everywhere I look, I've watched a lot of Leaf reactions. I've seen people react. No one's kind of going after Keefe, which has surprised me a little bit because I thought we were playing worse under Sheldon Keefe than we were under Mike Babcock.
Here's the thing.
Mike Babcock. Let me just finish my thought here. Mike Babcock played some old school hockey. But it worked. That hockey is kind of the one sport that hasn't changed much compared to other sports. Like kind of football has changed over the years. Basketball has changed. Now they're all 3-point shooters.
The game has changed.
It has. There's a lot of emphasis on kind of skilled players, but the way you win remains the same. That has not changed. You still win with a good, tough defense. You win the game by cycling pucks in deep, forechecking, doing the little things right. And the Leafs don't do that. They never hold the puck in. Columbus just they stand their own end. They waited for the Maple Leafs to kind of skate up from their own end. They would dump the puck back, and they did it for 20 minutes. But that's what Columbus did for 20 minutes. They just sat on their own end. It was easy for them. They could have had a picnic and still played a hockey game. It wasn't an impressive performance. I think it's a lot to do with Sheldon Keefe, to be honest. I get that Kyle Dubas' guy and all. But then again, I think Kyle Dubas, there's a lot of questions that have to be asked about him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, obviously, because, he was put in a tough situation. But him caving to Nylander and Marner or him caving to Nylander first set a precedent for Marner. And now, Marner looks like a complete ass, playing the way he is, making the money that he is. I'm sure he feels bad for the performance, but that doesn't, make fans feel any better. about anything that happened over this year. People forget we lost in a. I mean, not forget, but seems like a long time ago. We lost to David Ayers, an emergency backup goalie, a third string goalie. That was pretty embarrassing. But I mean, we have to remember that we made his life easy after those first two goals went in. In that game, in the third period, he was just camping out. He was having the time of his life. He didn't have any thing difficult to save, and Carolina easily won that game. They didn't make life difficult for anyone. So in that regard, I think Sheldon Keefe's just being outclassed by a lot of defensive coaches. I think we struggled to score. I think Mike Babcock was honestly better. In that respect, I thought we were just more exciting with Mike Babcock. We played better hockey. But I mean, those are my thoughts just on the coach. I'll go into the players in just a minute, but I'll let you give your thoughts on Sheldon Keefe because, I mean, I think I feel quite differently from a lot of other fans because I just haven't seen people kind of going after Sheldon Keefe the way I think people should be. I just think he's been very poor.
I'll say I'm kind of in between. Like I'd say that there's stuff that we to blame Keefe for, and then there are a lot of stuff that he didn't do right. Like during his first year as the coach. The reason why I want to tell him yes, I want to see next season how he changes. Because the thing about Babcock is that he was stubborn. He didn't make changes when things were clearly not working. If Keefe could come out next year and make big changes to a team that could actually improve the Leafs, then we'll see where things go for him from there.
Here's my one thing on Mike Babcock. I think he had the right to be stubborn. It may have been frustrating for fans, and I'm not saying that he was in the right a lot of the time because he wasn't. Playing Marleau in that game 7-2 when there's 2 minutes left and you're chasing goals again made no sense. But I think he has kind of the right to be a little bit stubborn. With his pedigree. Mike Babcock wins. I mean, we're never going to see him win in the NHL ever again. That's quite obvious. But with that being said, to me, Mike Babcock's just a better coach than Sheldon Keefe, and the Leafs need a veteran, experienced head coach that's gonna rattle their cage a little bit. I think Sheldon Keefe gave these guys a little too much freedom, and they're not. I think these players aren't old enough yet, and they're not mentally prepared against veteran teams with experience and know how to win games, like the Columbus series that we just saw. John Tortorella knows how to win hockey games. He knows how to win tight games, and at least kind of need someone like that, a guy with veteran experience. We've seen what Joel Quenneville has done in where's Joel Quenneville? The Islanders?
Well,
I think he's in Florida. Barry Trotz is on the Islanders, and we've seen what Barry Trotz has done with the Islanders over the last 2 years. And there's plenty of examples of kind of these veteran coaches just changing up these teams. There's a few examples that are just not coming to me off the top of my head. Well, I mean, even with those two, we've seen how they've established good teams and made them even better. And to me, Sheldon Keefe has not made this team better. Again, they're young, so I think they're still learning the game, but we've seen just too many of these losses, too many of these Game 7 losses where it's killers. And they haven't won a series and not on my memory. So it's a tough pill to swallow. And the fact is Columbus are better than us. I mean, last year I thought Toronto was the better team in a lot of games against Boston until the Game 7 when that was the worst game of the series. And then, I mean, we're sitting here today where Columbus just played better hockey for most of those 5 games and most of those periods.
I have to ask you, do you see the Leafs ever winning the cup with this core?
Oh no. Let's go into the core. I'm gonna go through every single player on this roster and just get kind of pretty angry at the ones that I thought were a joke last series and for the last little while. Austin Matthews, the one untouchable player on this team. I have absolutely no complaints about Austin Matthews. I love that dude. He just knows how to score goals. Great hockey player. And there's not much more that can be said about Austin Matthews other than I'm sorry that you have to suffer with some of these imbeciles that you're playing with. That's all I can say about Austin Matthews. hopefully he gets better because you deserve better. Mitch Marner, you're not living up to expectations, buddy. Um, you're making 11 mil, and that's all you got to show for it. A few assists in a game 4, not good enough. John Tavares, captain material. Don't miss open nets. Yeah, that's all I can say about John Tavares. Other than be better. Nylander. He's not a center. Sheldon Keefe stopped playing him there. What I would have done yesterday is instead of playing Marner on that Matthews Tavares line, I would put Nylander. Nylander just looks quicker. He looks more likely to score, and that's what I would have done. I think they were focused too much on trying to get Mitch Marner going. Nylander was the better player of that series, and I would have played him alongside Matthews and Tavares rather than
I'll argue
Marner.
you put Nylander instead of Tavares, put Tavares as center, and have a line of Matthews, Martin, Nylander.
I mean, yeah, you could have done that. That would be the other option, but I think Keefe was pretty set on having Tavares and Matthews together. That's the only reason I said that. I would have put Nylander instead of Marner because I think Nylander is a better player right now. Tyson Barrie, bye. I'm not gonna miss you. Zach Hyman does all the little things well. He's the only guy I wouldn't move, just like Matthews, just because just high IQ player, loves the team, and always gives it all on the ice. You can never complain about Zach Hyman's effort, and you know what you're getting out of him. And the effort is always there. So Zach Hyman, you're not one of the guys that should ever be kind of discussed as being a bad player on the ice ever. I'd play him on any line, does the right things. Kapanen didn't really do anything. Whatever, move on. Kerfoot, he's quick. I like Kerfoot, but played with I think poor wingers in that line. I don't remember who are even his wingers. Man, Janssen, I can't blame. It was his first game in 6 months. I don't know why he played you can't play a guy in a playoff game for the first time in 6 months. You're never going to get good results out of that. Morgan Riley, best defenseman, but that's not saying much. Jason Spezza, he came here to win a cup, but you're never going to win a cup in Toronto, so it's tough. Ilya Mikheyev didn't do much that series. Jake Muzzin, injured. Janssen, again, first game in 6 months. Justin Hall, unfortunately, we have him locked up for the next 3 years. I mean, is he a horrible player? No, but he's not a very good defenseman. And we just have a lot of guys like Justin Hall, average players. Pierre Engvall, fourth liner. Gauthier, played 1 game. Dermott, I can't stand him. Honestly, I thought he was older than 22. I thought he's been in the league for 7-8 years. That's just how long it feels. Trying to watch Travis Dermott clear a puck in his own zone. I feel like he can never do it, and I find whenever he's on the ice, he's a liability. The best he'll ever be is a third line defenseman. And frankly, I think he's one of the guys that have to be shipped out if you want to win a cup. Cody Ceci, got him from Ottawa. That's all I can really say. I think it explains a lot. Marincin, nope, he's locked up next year. That's good. Looking forward to watching him skate on the ice next year. Kyle Clifford, he's missing more teeth than he has goals this year. Interesting. Am I missing anyone? I feel like I've gone through this entire roster, and I'm just disappointed looking at them. And then Freddie. I feel bad for you, man. It's not easy being a Toronto Maple Leafs goalie, and I'm sitting here, and I feel like my voice just is so dejected right now. But that's the only thing I feel right now. I just feel pain because I don't see how this team gets any better. And I'm trying not to get mad, and I'm trying not to scream, but it's not easy. It's not easy being a fan of this team because there's so many average players that I have to sit through and watch, and they're just making, simple mistakes that you see in junior level hockey. Mistakes that you don't see in Stanley Cup winning teams. And forget making a playoff run. Forget even winning a series because we're not there yet, and it's just such a long way to go if we're talking about actually winning a cup. And there's talent on offense, man. There is talent. They were number 1 in goals this year, but it just says so much about their defense. If we were barely in a playoff spot, we were struggling for 70 games this year. There's 12 games left. I know it's not a guarantee. Those are going to be 12 tough games, and we had a tough schedule. Yeah, if we would have played Tampa, we would have gotten rocked. I guarantee it. I've watched this team for too long. It's so hard to predict sports sometimes because often you don't know what's going to happen in a series. But it's so easy to predict the Leafs. I picked 5 games, and I was just being an optimistic Leafs fan. Maybe they'll win in 5. Yeah. If I was not a fan of the Leafs, I would have guaranteed you I would pick Columbus in 5 just because this team's so predictable. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm done kind of going off on this team. Other than the fact there just needs to be wholesale changes in the offseason. Big offseason for Kyle Dubas. If we need defensive help, which is clear we do, you're going to have to give one of those offensive guys, and it's not going to be Matthews.
It's going to be hard to trade someone like Marner, though, because
I'm going to ask you, who do you trade? Is it Marner, Tavares, or Nylander? Or
I think who you would want to trade?
Those two.
Marner, Tavares, Nylander?
Yes.
I think I'll want to trade Marner, but I think I'll have to trade Nylander because no one will want to take Marner's contract. Unless we retain part of that salary. But no one's going to pay Marner $11 million after the year he just had.
I think you could trade Marner for creative. I mean, I think there's ways to get around money in hockey. Yeah, his contract stinks, but he played 59 games this year, 16 goals, 51 assists. I'll give him that, but
I mean, there's ways to retain a salary, but it's gonna be hard to trade that contract.
I'm struggling today because just because how bad they were in that series. I have no hope. I had no hope that they were going to win that series after Game 3. Game 4 is a fluke. That's the only way we could describe it. And Game 5 gets shut out. An elimination game against Columbus. I mean, I get they're good defensively and they're well coached, but that just proves that we're not a very good hockey team. And I think that'll be my final thought. This series proved that we're not a very good hockey team. And defensively, we are so bad. I mean, I'm happy we get rid of Tyson Barrie's contract. That's going to be a plus. But Freddie has 1 year left. He's going to be 30 next year. He's going to want a lot of money. He deserves a lot of money. Just for the psychological damage that these Leaf defenders have caused him over the last, how long has he been here? 4 or 5 years now? Yeah, that's a quote of the day, I think, to be honest. The fact that, give Anderson $20 million because just for the psychological damage that this team has done to him. Imagine being a goalie for this team. I mean, you have to be crazy to be an NHL goalie in the first place. Taking 100-mile-per-hour shots to the chest from some of these guys. That puck's just a rock. You have to be. I don't care how much equipment you have. Some of those shots hurt. Imagine just taking a slap shot from Zdeno Chara, and to make matters worse, he's probably facing the most shots out of any goalie in the league because the Leafs defense doesn't know their head from the rear end. Honestly, they give away more chances than ice cream vendor gives away ice cream to little kids. Honestly, it looks like a bunch of giraffes out there. It's like giraffes on Adderall trying to play hockey, some of those defensemen. And I'm done with it. And until they improve, why even watch these games, man? Why even watch the Leafs for what? Just to feel disappointed. Feel like you wasted a bunch of time, wasted a bunch of hours of your life. I'm never gonna get back.
That being said, we're still gonna watch next season.
Yeah, I guess I will. Matthew. This has been the end of a very depressing emergency 5-5 sports. The Leaf season is officially over. So Leaf fans, at least you could focus on something else. Focus on your family, on your job. I don't know. It's Corona time, so I don't know how many of you guys are working, but focus on making yourself happy because This team doesn't do it for anyone. We don't have the luxury of living in Boston where they win a trophy every year. We live in Toronto. It's cold. It's bitter. Your favorite team sucks, and the season's over. And I'll say that with a smile on my face because I don't have to watch them get smacked by the Tampa Bay Lightning next round. There's some 5-5 Sports. I'm Evan Ruenberg. Alongside me once again is Matthew Choi. Thanks for joining us for this brief resumption of the Leafs season. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be discussing everything from Raptors basketball. We'll be talking a little bit of baseball. We'll get some footy in there again with our good friend Daria. Until tomorrow, we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast.
Thank you guys for listening.